I would like to represent our next speaker, Sergey BRUI. He's co-founder and managing director of Wiser Interactive. This is a very cool, successful company from Belarus. They started from this small, indie studio and became a really big player at the game market in Eastern Europe. And they have really cool, successful social game titles. And he will tell us about them and their success, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah? Sure. Let's welcome him.
Okay. My name is Sergey. I'm from Belarus. I'm going to be using the word Russian a lot, though I'm not. By that I mean that I'm talking about all the Russian-speaking countries, the post-Soviet Union countries. I'm going to be speaking about building a successful company, a social game development company in particular. To define what success is, to start with, I want to define what success is. I think nowadays it's not enough just to release a hit game, because in the social and mobile market, success doesn't last long, and you can be the hero of the day and be forgotten in about a year. So you've got to know how to deal with your success and how to repeat it at least once. If you do that once, you will be able to do that on a regular basis. So in the beginning, there's just you. And I take it as a default option that you are smart and talented. What does it take for you to get to the point of smart, talented, and successful? I think mentor, money, and of course the team. In the perfect world, you would have a mentor give you money and work as a producer or something. But it doesn't really happen in Russia because our business environment is not of a very high level, and we don't have many investors interested in game development. So basically, in real life, you've got to use friends, family, and fools, the standard 3F, to finance your company. Maybe if you have a passive income, that's great. And you got to use all the means possible to find information about developing your country in order to use other people's experience, not to do mistakes. Now, let me introduce you to the Russian bear. He's crazy but smart. That sometimes happens to Russians. And he's professional at giving advice. First, he says that you shouldn't do equal partnerships. When you do an equal partnership, at the end of the day, you will face the problem of who is the boss. And when you face that problem, decision making will take longer, and that could be fatal to your company. And do not outsource yourself. Basically, that means that if you do outsourcing in order to finance your project at the same time, you're going to fail. First of all, because you're either going to get tired and won't be able to focus on your product, or you're going to be successful at outsourcing, and in the end of the day, you're going to have fear of losing your income. So let's assume that you have a mentor or some information, and you have a.
You have to go too close to the microphone.
Okay. Where was I? Yes. Let's assume that you have money and that you have some knowledge. You've got to build a winning team and a great company culture. I would say that every company starts with unique vision, and for sure you don't have to copy the experience of successful companies. I mean, everybody wants to be like the Half-Life developers. Their handbook, employee handbook, was online, and everybody was admiring it. So was I, but I understand that in our company, it's not going to work. In the beginning, you don't have much to offer to your employees. Basically, you have to sell your vision so they believe in it, and it's very difficult to believe in something that is artificial. Then about the team. Every team should have these three guys: the superstar, the energizer, and the ideologist. The superstar adds quality to your product, and that better not be you, because you won't be able to develop a company and do some great job at the same time, well, on a constant basis at least. The energizer is the guy who sometimes annoys other developers, but at the end of the day, he gets stuff done. He likes implementation. And ideologist, it's the guy who motivates other people when things go good or bad. And that probably should be you, because if such a person leaves your company, that would be a heavy loss. You've got to remember that you can't build a great company just saying that you're gonna be successful and motivating people by money. Every company should have a noble cause. In our situation, we give opportunity to junior developers. Back in 2010, there were 30 of us. Only 4 of us had experience in game development. And for 15 of our employees, Visor Interactive was the first job. So that makes people loyal, and that's great. Here I have some essential stuff that you've got to remember on your way from development to actually success. Before the release, after the release, and always. Plan big. It means that you're going to be successful and that you need a good technology. In terms of server side, it means easy to scale, and client side, it needs to be popular. Well, Unity 3D for social networks is not that good of an idea, for example. Socialize, well, I've already mentioned that. And be lean. Well, it means that in the beginning, money is the biggest enemy that you have. You've got to invest in your team, and remember that there are other ways to motivate people other than, for example, buying expensive hardware and stuff, and going to expensive trips. Then the release comes, the date which is considered to be the happy day by most of the people who start their own business, but actually it's a pain in the ass day. It's the day when everything starts and you have to work double hard. You've got to make sure that your team is available to do endless updates. I would recommend to go feature content updates, hold on to the features, and don't make too many of them, because they have a lot of risks. I mean, when we didn't update our game for 3 weeks, that happened once, we lost about 15% of our audience. I would say the perfect rate is once a week, well, once in 2 weeks at least. You've got to remember that in social networks the competition is very high, so user loyalty is very important. The first thing is keep in touch with the players. They are obsessive, and you need to realize that. Then you need to have a good community management that is able to support your game really well. Metrics. Well, it's easy. Don't guess, look. You've got to have a good statistic system. We didn't have that in the beginning, and we were lucky enough to have a real hit game that was growing without any marketing. Well, now we pay a lot of attention to that. Expand carefully. Well, yeah, at some point you're gonna have a lot of money and you're gonna want to do everything at the same time, and don't do that, because you're gonna lose your attention. I would say that you have to concentrate on success, on your successful product, and probably create a strong IP and pay a lot of attention to the product that brings in money. Well, and always the biggest issue is hiring employees, retaining employees, and motivating them. Well, I guess the company vision and the good noble cause will help you do that, but it will definitely eat a lot of your time. So be ready for that, and remember that hiring is not something that, for example, a good HR can do. In the beginning, it's got to be you, because techs change fast, and you don't want to change the people around you, so you've got to choose the guys that you really like, professionals that you like. Well, concentrate on success. I've already mentioned that. Be flexible. I mean, don't lose the opportunities. We did a couple of times, but we were smart and lucky enough to get into the social business in 2010 when there were already a lot of good players, big, strong ones. Stay hungry, that is kind of difficult. You've got to set the bar higher every time. That probably will help you. Okay, given the time amount, that probably is all that I'm going to say about building a company. And let's move to the second part of my presentation, overview of the Russian social market. I think it's very important, especially for the developers that are young, because Russian market still gives the opportunity to make substantial amount of money without heavy marketing expenses. So there are 3 networks in Russia. VK, also known as VKontakte, Odnoklassniki, also known as OK, and MyMail, also known as MM. As you see, they have different types of users. In VK, there are a lot of teenagers and young guys. We even have a saying that in VKontakte, there are sons and daughters, and in Odnoklassniki, there are their parents. Let's start with Odnoklassniki and MM. There are a couple of interesting facts about them. First of all, they're owned by Mail.ru. That gives them a couple of really big pros. First of all, they share a company registration process, so it means one document for 2 social networks, which is very handy. And they use a single ad system, and that means that you can be making money in MM and spending them on advertising in OK. In MM, the users are kind of similar to OK, but at the same time, they're a little bit more hardcore. They like games. So this network is kind of slowly turning into something that I would call probably casual congregate, something like that. Marketing is a challenge in MM, mostly because there are not enough users in the ad system, and you've got to, you will be promoted, a lot of ways to promote, but you've got to keep in touch with the guys from the network all the time, which is not very cozy for some developers probably. In OK, they have approval process. That means that they don't do many releases at the same time, and they don't release trash products, so it helps their catalog to stay in a very good condition. I mean that after the release, you will get approximately 500,000 users for free in like 1 or 2 weeks if you're technically ready for that. That is a problem for some guys. Now about VKontakte. It's a great network, probably the best network to start with. It has great API. The tech guys will be happy. No company registration, easy legal process. That means that you don't have to do any legal work up until you have to get your money. You can release your product, see if it makes money, and then start working on the legal stuff. Effective catalog and promotion tools. That is true. If your game is good, it will be featured. And the new games catalog is good too. The target system is very good. The audience is huge, so the user is kind of cheap. I will give the numbers later. So basically, you can get from 1 million to 1.5 million users for free. That is a lot. Okay, now some interesting information on the numbers. First, the user acquisition costs. It's based on our experience. In VK, it's around 13 cents. We don't target the gender, but about 80% of the users are female because they click on commercial more often. In OK, it's about, and by the user I mean the guy who actually gets past the loading screen and into the game. In OK, the females are about 24 cents and male users are about 30 cents. And, well, there is a fierce competition for male users, but they kind of pay a lot and there is not enough of them, and there are a lot of companies that do like good hardcore gaming. So I would probably target the female audience. At MM, there is not, well, you can buy for around 32 cents your users, but the amount is too low, so don't bother. Probably it will change. I hope so. Well, ARPU, it is based on the information from five different games. Casual games, not hardcore, but kind of high quality. VK around 3 cents, and IPU here is amount of daily users divided by the money you make. Well, vice versa. In OK it's about 5 cents, and in MM it's about 45 cents. Well, at the end of the day, an application that is popular all over 3 networks is going to generate around 15 to 20 million dollars per year of net revenue, and that is not bad. Even G-Man thinks so. And an advice for you guys: don't buy third-party traffic because it's not effective, and there is not enough of it, and it costs a lot. Okay, now from this to the company screen. No, top games. Top games. Well, it's pretty much the same all over the world. Farming, big competition. Strategies make a lot of money. Not that big of competition, and everybody says it's like a new trend. Probably Facebook says that they're gonna feature all the core games, hardcore games, and gambling, which I don't consider interesting because it's not game dev, and I would like to do what's interesting, not just money. Well, poker was the #1 in OK last year, so that probably is a good option if you are in this business. Trends, VK, PvP, because there are a lot of teenagers who play Dota, who play shooters, so they are ready to play PvP games. Strategies, in OK, I think casual games, like hidden object games, social games, because the audience is over 30. And in MM, strategies, and as they say, arcades. Now about our company. In 2009, we have released our first product. There were 12 of us. It was a post-nuclear browser game for a very narrow audience, but at the same time, it gave us the technology that we used successfully when we went social. In 2010, we released Zombie Island on Facebook and Zombie Farm in Russia. It has around 30 million users, over 30 million, 1.1 million DAU. Based on that success, we've released Klondike. It is only in Russia yet, and Poland, 4 months, or 5 months ago. So it is a very successful product, over 5 million users already. We hope that we hit 12 million DAU by the end of the year, and we have a number of projects in development. In some of them we are investors, in some we give the technology, in some we work as producers. And we have our own projects coming out. We hope that 3 million is a probability for us this year, by the end of this year. Mobile, of course, we are following the mobile trend, maybe a little bit too late, but that's what we do. We do a high quality product. We do the free-to-play freemium versions of our social brands. That's basically it. I would like to say that, and it's very important, that living in the world that in which you, in order not to die from hunger, you need to be dying from boredom, is not an option. And fortunately, game dev gives us the opportunity to do what we like. So I hope that you try hard, and you're going to be lucky, and may the force be with you. That's it.
Anyone has questions?
I saw on one of your slides you said forget about KPI.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, it doesn't work in game dev. You're not in retail business. KPI, all the quantitative goals, they narrow your motivation, and that really ruins the company.
Are you working on the new projects right now?
Yes, about 5 of them. One is our own social, mobile game, and 4 more we are a part of a team, like partners.
Are you going to move your successful titles as Zombie Farm to iOS or Android?
Yes, we are working on Zombie Farm already.
Mm-hmm.
Klondike is going to be the next. So I hope that it's going to be good. Somewhere near, probably this summer, around that, we'll release it.
Are you going to publish it by yourself or using big publishers?
We are considering options at the moment. More likely we're going to do it ourselves, because like we did set the bar higher, and in order to stay hungry, you need to try aim for the best and the most.
Anyone has questions? No questions? Okay, thank you very much for your session.